Hey Grace, Pastor Luke here with the recap video for Matthew chapter 5, and it's through verse 20. And in Matthew 5, Jesus begins what's called the Sermon on the Mount, which is one of his most extensive teachings. And in Matthew 5, he's giving an invitation to be a part of his kingdom, and he's describing what it looks like to live in his kingdom. And last week we talked about a big idea that we see in the kingdom is this idea of righteousness. Jesus said, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they'll be filled or satisfied." So there's this high value on hungering and thirsting for righteousness. And actually, most of chapter 5 is really about this idea of righteousness and what it looks like to live righteously. In fact, in Matthew 5:20, Jesus says, "Unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees and teachers of the law, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven." So that's a really big deal. We need to pay attention. What is righteousness? And so we talked last week that righteousness isn't simply about doing the right things and checking off the boxes and saying, yes, I followed that rule and that rule and that rule, but that it's deeper and it is much more kingdom-minded than we think. Righteousness is about having right relationships that are motivated by love. And so it's our right relationship with God and a right relationship with people around us. And I would even add a right relationship with the world in which we live, and including nature and all of those things too. It's right relating, motivated out of love. And we know that that's really important because Jesus said the greatest commandment is this: to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. And he said all the law and the prophets hang on those two commandments. So righteousness is all about having right relationships. And so that's what I just want to encourage you this week. How can you pursue having right relationships? How can you hunger and thirst for that? A right relationship with God, where you trust God, where your heart is for the things of God, where you're walking in willing obedience to the plan that God has for you. And how can you walk in right relationships with the people in your life, those closest to you, like a spouse or father or mother or son and daughter, brother and sister, people you live with, and even, yes, your enemies. How can you walk in right relationships with the people around you? That really is the substance of the kingdom of heaven. I love you guys, and I love following Jesus together with you. Have a great week. Well, bye.